In this lesson, we are going to look at numbers or Nummern. First, let's look at the base forms. You need to pause the video and write these down into your notes that will be submitted at the end of the lesson. I will pause after each number so that you can practice your pronunciation by repeating after me. Null, eins, zwei, drei, vier, fünf, sechs, sieben, acht, neun, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 100, 1000, 1000. Keeping these notes in front of you, let's continue and look at the numbers over 20. For the numbers 21 through 99, you will write the second number first, followed by the word and then the first number. There are no spaces when writing numbers as words in German. 21 would be ein und zwanzig, 1 and 20 literally. Notice that the S gets dropped when eins is in the first position. 35 would be fünf und dreißig, literally 5 and 30. And this pattern would follow for all numbers 21 through 99. There are a few things that you need to remember when building numbers. After I reveal each of these, pause the video and write them into your notes. First thing to keep in mind is that you always drop the S from eins when it is used to build other numbers. For example, 41 would be ein und vierzig. 100 would be ein hundert. That S is always dropped when it's in the first position. Second thing to keep in mind is that 30, dreißig, is irregular. If you look at the notes you took on the first page, you will notice that for all of the other numbers, the zig is ZIG. In dreißig, it is a double S or an S set. Whereas the S is dropped from eins, sechs and sieben do not drop letters when they are in the first position. So 36 would be sechs und dreißig. 37 would be sieben und dreißig. And the last thing to keep in mind, as mentioned before, is that numbers are written as one word. There are no spaces. I want you to take a moment to pause the video and try to write out all of these numbers in your notes. When you submit your notes, I will be looking at your attempts to write out each of these numbers. Let's see how you did. 29 should be 29. 45, 45. 87, 87. Hopefully you remembered not to drop that en from sieben in 87. 56 would be 56. Again, making sure you did not drop that S. 31, ein und dreißig. Two things could go wrong on that one. Dropping the S from eins to ein, and then the double S or S set 32, 72, 72, 68, 68, 94, 94, 23, 23, and one of my favorite numbers to say, 55, 55. Hopefully you got all those right. If you missed any, make sure to correct them in your notes so that you learn from your mistakes. Now let's look at building numbers over 100. You're going to express the hundred first, then add the second part of the number following the pattern previously established. Again, there are no spaces when writing out numbers in German. 155 would be 155. 298 would be 298. Now, for your understanding, you would not realistically write out these numbers as words if you were using them in a paper or an assignment. You would write them as numerals when you go over 100. However, in an oral presentation, you do need to know how to pronounce numbers, which is why we will be taking the time to work on numbers in the hundreds and also in the thousands. So you learn the correct pattern for if you ever need to express those numbers in words. In your notes, I want you to take the time to pause this video and write out the numbers that you see on the screen. Okay, let's see how you did. 126 would be 126. 597, 597. 234, 234. 678, 678. 485, 485. 999, 999. 831, 831. 372, 372. 713, 713, and 641, 641. Our last step is to look at building numbers over 1,000. You are going to express the thousand first, then add the hundred, and finish with the last part of the number. There are no spaces. 2,358 would be expressed 2,358. 9,580 would be 9,580. Again, realistically, you would not write these numbers out as words if you were writing a paper about a battle where some amount of soldiers died, 2,358. You would not write that as a word, you would write that as a numeral. But in giving a presentation on that battle, you need to know how to express the number. And our last set of practice for you, please take a moment to pause the video and write out these last five numbers. Let's see how you did. 3,689 would be 3,689. 5,721, 5,721. 9,435, 9.435, 7.294, 7.294, and 2.567, 2.567. If you have any questions about building numbers, please email your instructor.